The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Noyantis Usergroup meeting. Today is the 21st of January 2019. Myself and John are here. As always, if anyone's got any ideas, questions, problems, solutions, then please feel free to raise your hand. We'll get the microphones opened and we'll basically go through the contents as they arise. Okay, before we get going on the actual questions and so on, quick announcements. Now, obviously, I'm sure you're all aware that CIDC is coming up later this year in September in Orlando, USA. And in case you missed the announcements last week, the training aspect basically has been changed. So it basically your training for the CIDC event will actually cover both Noyantis training and Capesoft training. So we can like I say, it was announced on Wednesday's open webinar and on Friday's weekly webinar. So yes, if you are interested in attending the CIDC, which I do definitely recommend to everybody at the CIDC event, then if you go for the training, the price hasn't increased, but basically the training has. So now you're going to get access to both our training and Capesoft training. You'll get the recording sessions of both. You could physically attend one and watch the other one live if you wanted. So you've got a few options open to you, and of course, depending on the actual schedule and the content, you'll be able to switch from one room to the other. So that's coming up in September at CIDC 2019. What we're also doing on top of that is we're actually holding a UK event. So we hopefully more people can attend, and it's going to be a Thursday and a Friday, the 7th of March and the 8th of March, split over 2 days. And it's similar to the schedule what's going to be at CIDC. There will be slight changes, but ultimately we're aiming for a similar schedule. Day one is going to be dedicated to getting the CodeJock controls basically working together, working seamlessly integrating with each other so you get the best solution out of them. Minimum amount of coding, of course, but the maximum impact at runtime. So that's going to be day one, and we're going to do one, possibly two type of applications, different UIs for you to use, and basically you'll be able to take from that a skeleton application at the end of the day. So that's day one, and day two is going to be dedicated to basically the Chillcat wrapper, which is using APIs and communications. So we're going to do some of the things that we do on the weekly webinar, but we're going to do them basically, rather than just the raw basics which we cover here, like reg-free COM and so on and so forth, we're going to go at a more higher level and have a look at this particular scenarios which might come in handy for you. So basically, you've got an API that you need to start talking to. The task class isn't created for it, so we're going to have a look at basically what's going to be involved in that, straight from registering with the particular dedicated backend through to adding the Chillcat base classes to your application and then calling those to actually get a connection, prepare data in a whatever format, JSON or XML format, and then actually send and receive to the actual API. So day two is going to be heavily communications and API orientated. So if anyone's interested in the UK event, and it's in Nottinghamshire, UK, it will be available online as well. So the attendees will, obviously, you can physically attend, which is great, hope to see you there, or you can attend online, and we've got a couple of people doing that as well. You will get all the recordings of the event, plus you'll get all the material during the event. The prices are £250 for physical attendees. That's for both days, and it covers your lunches, of course, and refreshments. And It's £175 for online attendees. Again, you get all the recordings and so on. You don't get the lunch. So hopefully, if you're interested in that, please feel free to contact us. Drop me an email, grab us on Skype, and I'll send you the details through. Okay, that's the announcements over. Any questions or problems that people want us to take a look into? Just watching the questions box.
I had a quick question for you.
Yeah, fire away.
On data binding. So
Okay.
we had a webinar a couple of weeks ago about changing from MSSQL to ODBC driver in Clarion.
Yes, on the Friday.
So
yes.
that's what So that's what I did. I switched everything over to the ODBC. And the data binding has MSSQL selections, and then it has an other. Is that what I would do for ODBC? Select the other, and then just give it the connection string?
Yes. Actually, the app I'm just working on, because I did promise, I think it was Michael on here, and we will cover that in a second, to do with schedules and calendar schedules and colorings and so on. But this uses binding quite heavily. Now, I've implemented it in a slightly different manner, but we can still go to the template settings for that. So you're on the report control.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep, binding is a source.
Right.
And now we're going to be on the connection. No, that's in there. Okay,
Driver,
so yeah, so we've got in here. Okay, so yeah, it would be. I'm just trying to think what the. Let's have a quick look at this. It's not available. It's just going to take the other off, and it's going to want the actual driver. Okay.
Would that just be the ODBC
That
driver?
would be the ODBC, but I tell you what, I will change the template so we've got that covered. I'll look at the connection strings and basically how it. Are the connection strings massively different? Do we know for ODBC and say an ADO a SQL source?
I don't think so. That you have to have like server equals and database equals. Those have to be in there. Clarion doesn't require that, but the ODBC connection does. And then you have to have the ODBC connection itself in the string.
No,
I can send you a sample of what it's supposed to look like. But
sorry. Oh yeah, I thought my keystrokes were already set up on this, and they're not. I'm actually not in the UK. I'm actually over in France.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
so,
right.
I'm on the laptop. Got a pretty good setup actually. I'm just got a builder coming. Actually, I do need to cut today's webinar a little short because I've got a builder coming and I want him to catch the work while it's still light. But yeah, we're going to have an office out here. It's just for myself. We're not getting any grand ideas of massive expansion and world domination. It's just I like to come out here quite a lot, and I need the office set up permanently for that rather than just a laptop on your knee, so to speak. But let me just take a look at some of the other things we've got in here, and I'll tell you how it. I have mine set up in an include. So I shall open that. So basically, yes, it would build it along the lines of. In fact, I could. No, I won't. I'll open up a new notepad so you can see. I think that would actually work. Here's where you can see it sets up a global variable called ADO data, and I've got some startup variables which I read in from various places. One of them's the actual server, one's a database name, one's the user ID, and one's a password for that user.
Right.
So that's my particular take on it. Now that's obviously good for SQL, but I think that'd be perfectly fine for the just a straightforward ODBC, because I take it that's very similar to the ODBC connection.
Yeah, the only thing you're lacking there is the connection itself. Which,
when you say what's that?
That would be where it has the driver part of it in there.
Oh, right, no, this is just the actual ADO. No, there's another part which calculates what it's doing, be it SQL, so on and so forth. Yeah, this is so the template would calculate that to say it's SQL and so on and so forth. This is just the connection string to the actual data source.
Right. Well, that's right then. I mean, that's the way it's supposed to look, I think.
Yeah, I think we'd be okay, but I will change the template, and because basically I watched nearly all of that. I think I had to drop out about 60 minutes in to go somewhere, but I will finish it off because it's a very good webinar, and I do want this particular application. Oh, not again! So I have shortcuts for multiple monitors, and I've not got them on the laptop. I'll see how many times I do that today. Yeah, this whole application uses the data binding, and if we did cover this a couple of weeks ago, and it's just a different take on getting your variables and so on and so forth, and your select statements. But this, let's go to our thing. Basically, we need to know what the unique column is, and I've created some lib routines. It's a multi-DLL solution. I've created lib SQL get unique column, and I just pass it an equate. So this happens to be the staff schedule lines. The driver we will change, so we've got Odbc in there. Whatever options we need for Odbc, I very much doubt we'll need them, but if we do, and then basically
you might throw a couple in there. There's like 13 and 17, I think, that are the most commonly used.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I know on the MySQL, I think there's a version 8 now, but there's 3.51, there's a 5. I think it's just 3.5 and a 5.3 one, and I think there's a version 8 now, and I've had different successes with different with different connectors, I should say, for MySQL. The 3.51 used to historically be the better, to be honest, but we'll check that out as well with the newer ones. But yes, if there's any particular options, then now I will definitely add them. Basically, we'll cover a tiny bit on data binding, because that's a good point. But onto the other bit. So on the connection, we can see that's that variable we calculated earlier. So I have the connection stored in a variable, but then the actual select statements we've got stored in an expression, and I have a lib routine. And again, it's just like the get unique field, but it's get select statement. I pass it basically an equate, and that will return me my select statement. See this in action, just to spend a couple of minutes on this, because I know I've quickly mentioned it to you offline, John, and it was to do with the let's go to staff's nest. Doesn't really matter about any of these. This now, it's using data binding, which is great. Calling an update form, that's so on. Yep, no problem, and we can of course update and go back. In fact, we will press OK, so we will go back, and we can see it's taken focus. This is using the new template settings for basically with the related data and so on. So if I was to open that up, let's just show you that particular procedure. We've got a question in on themes, so we'll quickly have a look at that in a second as well. But that, where was it? It's staff, browse staff. So everything you saw there is the straightforward selects. Different equate, of course. Just waiting for this to open. Thank you. So yeah, so basically everything I just demonstrated this a second ago, but with the staff. This makes it extremely easy for me to basically the intention is to ship the actual select statements and so on in an actual TPS table. So I could basically ship a new setup table and change the look and feel of the application from the browse contents, if you will, from the report control contents, just by using these lib routines. So it's just a different take on it, but we're also making use of the related record, so it knows that this is related to the staff table and so on, and where the unique elements of the key are. And if you want to call the update, it will call an update routine. Makes it extremely easy to clone So if I need a new browse screen, I can just copy that, change the equates of these, and change the update, the related record, and hey presto, I've got a brand new browse screen done. Really simple. I can knock a browse screen in probably 1 or 2 minutes. So it makes it very simple to copy and create new browsers. From a screen point of view, controls wise, got some hidden, but we're actually using in the report control, the new insert, change, delete buttons from the report control template. And the reason I'm mentioning that is you can see it in action. The hidden, that is there's a command bar across the top, and it's cloning the actual insert button. The change and delete are on the right click, and we're adding a new option where the change and delete buttons will actually be on the end of the actual the report control itself, so they'll be permanently there, a little change icon, a little X. So we're going to take away the requirement of the change and delete going up on the action bar. A bit like, if you will, if anyone's ever used QuickBooks Online, or I'm not sure about the QuickBooks desktop, but online they have like a new and the help and so on at the top. But if you want to change your actual record, you would be able to, just like you double click a record, you will be able to go to the button built into the actual line itself. So that's a new addition which is coming to the report control. So the change and the delete buttons will be physically on the actual, if you want them to be, of course, on the actual row itself. So it just makes sense. If you wanted to delete that, you would highlight it and either right click, or you would highlight it and go to a delete button. Well, we're going to get rid of that. You'd be able to go straight to a delete. Imagine, if you will, it's here. Go straight to it, click, and delete the record. So that's a change what's coming on the report control. But all of these are now using the new buttons directly related. And when used in conjunction with the data binding, previous versions would, when you wanted to refresh the actual content, it would close the connection, reopen it. And we're not sure, I know John mentioned it a long time, a possible memory leak. I don't think you'll get that now. You'll definitely get a faster response, 100%, because we're not closed. Basically, the connection is opened once when we go in and closed when we come out. But we've added new methods to the class for basically repopulating the browse. Basically, just a refresh. I think it's refresh contents or data bind refresh, something like that. And that basically will issue the ADO commands to the back end in order to be able to rebuild the contents. All of the positioning, as you can imagine, is there. So if I put that to put it in that order, and I change that to, let's change that to not them initials, we'll change it to WW2. I expect it to be repositioned at the bottom, and of course it is. So everything you take for granted in your cloud, your Clarion browser, your ABC and your ABC and Legacy, and your page loaded and file loaded, everything you take for granted there, where you double click and it opens, and you insert and it puts it in the correct position afterwards and so on, this is now actually doing for you as well. But there's no Clarion browse. We're going to obviously use that, the next step, to populate straight from a TPS or a SQL or whatever. We're cutting the Clarion browse out. It'll still support, we're not taking anything away from the template, but if you wanted to just basically put a report control straight on the table, then you'll be able to do that and specify the columns, and you'll get the content straight on the screen. No Clarion browse required. You'll just use our insert, change, delete buttons, our print button, our view button, that type of thing, our select button. I'll put my data back to how it was, because I wonder what's going on later. Okay, so I'll add the Odbc, which was your question, John. I'll add the Odbc driver and try it out in this application, and like I say, start coming away from the SQL. I take it you've not had any issues and you've got good results from yours?
I'm just kind of in the testing part right now. Yeah, switching my app to Odbc has worked really well, and then I've got some data-bound report controls and such. And I was just starting to look and see how they were working.
Right. So I will liaise with you this week. Even though I'm over in France, work-wise, it makes no difference. I'm still here, working as normal. Just came across to ship some things out to France and basically a change of scenery, if you will. So no, I'm still there as normal, and I will liaise with you when them changes are done, so you might be able to make use of them in yours. We'll have to obviously patch it into your version, but we can do that.
Right. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay, so we've got a question. In fact, we've got two questions. How do I get those to make them any bigger? Question box. Ah, there we go. Oh, that's okay. Just so Michael's asking, I work with theme files. How can I save the user choice in an option file with command bar theme? It's all okay. Okay. I was going to say we covered this question last week. I'm sure we did. Let me open the mic. Hi, Michael. Do you have a microphone?
Hello, Andy.
Hi.
How are you?
Yes, fine, thank you.
Okay, with command bars, I don't have problem. I save the user choice in one record file that have all options of my app. But with the calendar theme, I have problem, and I publish a bit of code in Skype in discussion called Noyantis group.
Okay.
If you have the Skype.
Yep, just taking a quick look now.
Yes. And my app is freezing when I save these options.
When you save?
Yes. I want to save the user option in 3 fields.
Okay. Just bring in the chat in place so we can see for the recording.
Okay. This is the embed code that I have in calendar.
Okay, so you got virtual method in its template settings. Read. So I take it you're getting that. Okay. So do you know which line it is which is causing the app to freeze?
Yes.
Which one? Tell you what, let's try a setting here. Okay, just going to open up an application, open up a demo app that we can do today. Okay, will be a second. Bring in the calendar. Last but not least, let's have a look at what version we've got of the code chunk. .18.3. Right, sorry about that. Just wanted to prepare a particular folder here. .18.3. Where's the Skype chat? We'll just grab that code and we'll have it in the same embed point.
And I use LVM as a temporary store.
The what, sorry?
The LV theme that you use in calendar for the themes, for the choice of the theme.
Okay, we'll go with this. SQL. Okay, that's SQL. Simple. So, Office 2010, blue. Yeah, looks kind of regular. That's no problem. In fact, no, we have one which has got different themes. Okay, so we can see this one here. We can choose black, so on and so forth. Okay, so we can do that. So I'm going to save that setting and get it to restore it, just like we did a couple of weeks back. Is that okay?
Okay.
I'm going to save mine in an ini, but that's kind of irrelevant, whether it's
Yes.
an ini or...
It's the same, it's the same.
Okay, so... So we've got an apply theme. That's great. That's kind of what we're after. But, oops. In fact, why am I using that keyboard? I brought all my Microsoft stuff out here. But, okay, that'll get us what we're after from a save point of view. Now, from an open point of view, you've got yours in the, just looking at your code, window manager, init 8001, your building, some stuff, okay, yeah. Calendar, virtual methods, which is kind of, well, which is good. Oh, come on. That's fine, but I've missed something off that put in it. I've missed the actual file name. I was thinking that's wrong. Okay, something along the lines of those. So in here, we did this last week. The file name would be that, and that would be style. Okay, something like that. And you've got yours at 9999. So, into the themes, we're not expecting any different to start with. Yep, Office 2010. We'll choose a blatant one, Office Black 2010, as good as any. Let's go out, go back in. We've got our black. Choose a newer one. Access 13.
The field is empty, Andy, okay.
The only difference we've got is you had which you had which is what we did last week, so it's correct about the apply resource.
Yes.
So that's the code you've got. I know you're loading yours from a variable and so on and so forth. Let's just see if that's causing a problem with the calendar rather than the command bar. Yeah, we're putting it back to a blatant resource, so you don't need that line. I said I was going to repair that for you. So you don't need that line with the calendar. You do need it with the command bar, as we saw last week, but you don't need it with the calendar. So just that should do it for you.
Okay.
But that's in the init template settings, quite late on. Well, really late on. But that should be suffice. Yep, so there's our access. Change it to something completely different. So access Excel 2016 black. Wow, that's dark. Okay, and we go back in. So yes, you should be okay at that.
Okay, but the theme
Yep.
in down it is empty. Okay.
The theme where, sorry?
The variable which choice, yes.
Oh no, that's just my demo app.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's just my demo app. No, ignore that. I'm just not priming it on the way in. That's all.
Okay, how can I have the select theme in that box?
Okay. So all I would do there is basically in the window init. That's just a local selection. That's not really anything special. I would think I've got a queue. Can't even remember this demo. LQ themes, yeah. Where do we populate the themes actually? Populate the themes, yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to LQ, clear that. Oh, not that one, sorry. The one before it. And then no, it's not file name, it's name. So something like that. I might need to do a prop selected actually, but
Okay.
yeah, I might need a prop selected. That would have been sufficient enough. But let me check where it is the name and not the file name. Have I got that? No, it's a file name. Sorry, I'm getting the wrong thing. That's okay. So I'm saving the wrong. That's okay. Where do we do the change? I'm putting the file name out. Yeah, okay. Okay, so that's just got it out of the queue. So yeah, it's basically just going and getting sending the prop selected out of your queue to whatever you want it to be. So let's have another one. Colourful OneNote, very nice. And back in again, colourful OneNote, so on and so forth.
Okay.
That okay? So basically, we've got just to very quickly show you again. Time's really against us, so I'm going to go to the next one. But we populate this queue, and that's just whatever styles and themes you want to offer the user. You might not want to offer all of them. Some applications I work on don't want to offer all of them. And then after I've populated it, I'm just saying, okay, if I've got one to go and restore, then I'll clear the queue, go and prime it up with the file and the style that we require, go and do a get, and if it does successfully find it in that queue, then I'll go and change the prop selected of our our list on the screen, our drop list I should say, to the pointer. And that's sufficient. In fact, what I will do there is I will put that in the Skype chat for you. Okay, so you've got that.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we've got John. John was asking, what's the advantage of the Odbc driver? See, we've got John. Microphone's open, John, if you have got a microphone. What's the advantage of the Odbc over the SQL? I'm still using the SQL. I've got to admit, I normally use the native client than the regular SQL connector. But I do believe from information from Clarion Live webinar, not the Friday just gone, the Friday before. So it's going to be. Come on, let's bring the date up. So it will be Friday the 11th. And from that webinar, there was basically it was dedicated to an Odbc class and so on and so forth. I think most of that is actually in Ultimate SQL from Clarion Live, but I think they are discontinuing the SQL actual native client connector. So people are switching to the Odbc driver. John might know more on this. As I say, I need to finish off that actual webinar myself. But from what I saw at the start of it, in the first 60 minutes or so, I was told that they are discontinuing the SQL client. I think the SQL connector, the SQL native client, and opting and moving you across to the Odbc, and you're getting just the same results, if not better. So John's already made progress on his. John, are you there? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm here.
Was that correct? Am I?
That's right. Yeah, Microsoft is deprecating the native clients, and then Clarion's MSSQL driver, which we've been using too. It's just kind of an intermediary between Clarion and the Odbc connection, anyway.
Right.
And so you're kind of it's a little more efficient to use the Odbc driver. The connection's just slightly different. You have to specify the Odbc driver itself, and the Odbc driver has to be installed. But then, on the other hand, so did the native client. And I found out that you can silently install the Odbc driver, which is pretty nice. Your end users won't have to do it. You just set it up so that you just check to see if it's there, and if it's not, you just silently install it. And I actually added that into Ultimate SQL, so you can have all that happen in the class.
I need to upgrade my Ultimate SQL.
Only I have this copy.
Okay.
You have to be updated for everybody. But I've adapted Ultimate SQL to kind of take into account to build the right connection strings and everything to use Odbc. So I'll try to get that out in the next week or two, so people could use it if they decide they want to update as well.
The ADO would be something like this machine's dev 02/NYS local. So that would be the server. Then it would be semicolon database equals whatever test, if you will. UID equals, and I usually have a username and password on mine if you're not using Windows authentication. So I would have user ID equal some user, and then PWD equal and XXXX for that. Whereas the standard Microsoft Clarion, well, the Clarion connection string would be along the lines of O2 /NYS. Ooh, in fact, I'm still using the wrong keyboard. Local, comma, test, comma, some user, comma, XXXX. So that's the difference between the two. That's the current one, and that's what you're really going to be changing it to.
Right. As well as the driver. There's a driver equals that goes on as well.
On the front, yeah. Well, depending on where you want it.
And I guess in the webinar they recommended using 17, which is the latest ODBC driver. It's pretty easy to Google search it and download it. The other thing too is that it will, if it drops connections, it automatically reconnect, and it should be seamless. You won't see any errors in Clarion. Whereas if that happens with the MS SQL driver, it'll crash your Clarion program.
Oh,
so that's a benefit as well.
Yes, definitely. And Bijan, in fact, I need to, because Bijan's got a question next, although we really do need to start wrapping it up. I just opened the mic up, but Bijan's just been saying there that there's many different versions of the ODBC drivers for MySQL. That's what I was mentioning earlier. This is for MySQL, not for Microsoft SQL. The issue is finding the one that's fully compatible. Not sure it will also be an issue with MS SQL. It's a fair point. They're recommending user 17, and someone's already having done this work. Then I'm going to go with that default to start. It's kind of an obvious default, so I'm going to go with that and do my testing. And as you've just said, I know there's I think I've used it's 3.5. It is 3.51. I have had very good results with that with MySQL. There's a 5.3, and I had mixed results on that when it first came out. And I think there's a newer one. I think it's 8 actually in the back of my mind. I've not really tried that because the solutions I did with the MySQL, we didn't need to. It wasn't out at the time, and we've not needed to really go back and revisit them. But I will try them. We've set up a dedicated database server in the office with different databases on there, including Postgres. So we're going to have the data binding be able to go straight to Postgres and so on and so forth, and that will build you the connection string accordingly and so on, or will help in those. So yes, basically there's the database server's got quite a few variants on there: MySQL, Postgres, obviously MS SQL, so on. So we will be adding those to the actual report control data bind options.
Yes, hi Andy. Hi, John.
Amazing.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, so what I found, because I've been using the ODBC driver for MySQL and Aurora, and so basically what I've been finding installing on different clients' machine is that, what happens is that you may get an error because you're basically adding another layer, so you have to install. And I found that you have to have on some machines, you have to install the Visual C x86 installer. So it required that. It was like a prerequisite for the ODBC driver to work even. So I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not sure with SQL it would be basically the same, but definitely with MySQL, I've had some, challenges. But you can get it to work by installing that. It's a free runtime that you can download, but you have to install that first before installing the 5.3 connector.
Right. Well, we'll test all, and it won't be thorough testing, but we'll do some testing when we're doing report control testing, and we'll report back in a future webinar. Be when we're back in the office in the UK. To be honest, because it's just easier. But yes, we'll report back accordingly then. And
yes, and I've had the same results with 3.5 and 5.38. Like you said, they work very well. It's just that the 5.3 does require that Visual C installer.
Right. And did you see that? I'm just having a quick look here. MySQL connector. Just seeing the version. I'm sure there's a newer version.
I haven't dealt. Yeah, I've just been using that 5.3.
Yeah, there is a version 8. Yeah. I thought I'd seen that. So.
Yeah, I'll test it and I'll tell you the results of that one too. I'll test it with my app.
Okay. And you're asking about I know you're interested in the QuickBooks Online.
Yeah.
And basically, although I haven't got all my shortcuts on this, so I will copy those, get them on the laptop this week. So if you want to drop me a message tomorrow, but yeah, basically the QuickBooks, we know from previous webinars that the invoices, both sales and purchase, or receivable and payable, and credit notes, tax rates, currencies, nominal accounts or general ledger accounts, suppliers and customers, or vendors as they call them, all of those are covered. And the linked transactions are covered, so you can see an invoice and what's linked to it and so on. But one of the things what isn't there is the ability to download a payment, upload a payment. So that I need to add. Now your question is what's basically what are the challenges? Hopefully next to nothing. Hopefully it's very much a case of if we open up one of the classes. Let me just open this here, bring it up. Not that one. Let's just open up one of these. Arian 10. NYFCK task. And we'll go to the QuickBooks. And basically, well, let's go to the invoice. Oh, employees are covered as well. Let's think then. So there's the invoice group. So we can see, okay, so it's the standard type of structure. It's got linked in queue, which is the linked transactions, which I mentioned earlier. Then you've got the lines of the invoice, the line queue, and a tax line queue as well, should you need that. So, and then your billing address, shipping address, so on and so forth. Now you won't need all that, but basically you will have this group structure, quite large actually. So you will have that group structure for a payment. So I just need to basically determine what that group structure is, and that will be straight from the QuickBooks documentation. So I need that group structure. Then I need, does it have any child queues or child groups? For example, the linked transaction queue. I think it will have that. I don't think it'll have invoice line queue because it's not an invoice payment, but I don't think it'll have a payment line queue. So I think it will just have a linked transactions queue at the heart of it. So I just need to create that structure as well. And then last but not least, it's very much a case of just copying these. So I have, for every type of entity, let's go with employee. I could use invoice actually for that matter. We'll go with the invoice. I'll copy that method. So we'll have an update payment with whatever parameters it needs. So the group structure of the header group, payment, and the linked transactions queue. So there's four for each one. There's the update and the entity. There's the JSON transfer, which is an internal, and the entity. So update, JSON transfer, the download single and the download plural. So the download single, invoice. Download the single invoice and you pass it the queues and so on, so it can populate all those for you. Or download just the groups of them. So download invoices just takes basically a queue of invoices. So it doesn't populate the child queues because that's a different query to get that information. So there shouldn't be too much involved. As long as the payment interface is similar to the rest of the QuickBooks interface, and I can't see why it wouldn't be, I'll be honest. As long as the payment interface is a similar approach, then it should be a matter of finding the group structures as per their documentation, and their documentation is pretty good, and then replicating them, copying maybe the invoice one as a default, change it to the payment, and so on and so forth, and just creating the four methods. That should really be it. And then obviously testing. But I'm hoping that's really it. So to answer your question, what are the challenges? There shouldn't be. The major challenge would be if for some reason QuickBooks do a completely different interface on uploading and downloading payments. This isn't taking payments. I'm not talking about the payment gateway. I'm just talking about the uploading of a payment in transaction and so on. Because I take it that's what you're referring to, the uploading and downloading of payment information.
Yes.
Yeah.
In my case, the majority of the time we're just they're recording the payment in my program, and they kind of some of them are like looking just to copy the exact same transaction in QuickBooks so that they can get their sales data.
Yeah, it's to synchronize into the back end, and that's just what. There's a particular application I work on for a client in the UK. They want to be able to synchronize they've got their desktop application. They do some financials in there, but they don't want. They're not going to try and reinvent a whole set of ledgers and so on. There's more than enough quality accounting systems out there, so it's pointless trying to recreate the whole ledgers nowadays. But they do want to be able to seamlessly integrate into whatever the back end is that they're using, be it QuickBooks or Sage or Mind Your Own Business or Xero. So that, I think I've mentioned in the past, they have a one-off application and it does all the work for them and so on. And they do exactly the same. So when you're in their application and you go to the currencies and you add a currency, then currency is probably a bad example. The general ledger accounts, the normal ledger accounts, they want to basically do stuff in their particular application, and as they press OK, it's automatically straight updated up on the in the QuickBooks, and so on. The same with the invoices, the customers, the suppliers, and so on and so forth. And that's how it's working. So it's working pretty well. They just don't do the payments, and that's why it's not being done, because that wasn't one of the driving forces behind it. But you require payments, so I will add that next.
Yeah, sir. I wanted to kind of like get an idea with the time frame, and so I can tell my customer. There's one customer that I have that needs it like right away. Is looking for like a date, and so I said I'm not sure yet about the payment.
Well, I tell you what, give me a couple of days. So we're on Monday now. Drop me a message on Wednesday, and I'll tell you exactly if it's done, possibly, or if not, when it will be done. So how's that?
Great, thank you. Thank you, John. Thank you, guys.
Okay, unfortunately, although the builder isn't here, actually, he should have been. I do need to cut it short, basically to prepare for the builder coming looking at some particular job. So, unfortunately, I do need to cut it a little short today. I'm sorry, everybody. I'll get the video converted ASAP, as in now, and get it uploaded, so it will be available for download probably within the next couple of hours, if not a little longer. So, thanks everybody for attending. Hopefully it's been helpful. Don't forget our UK event, just in case any of you got European, well, not just European, anyone is welcome to attend it. Hopefully it's interest to people, both online but also possibly in attendance. John's coming across, John and Mary from OnoSoft, so they're coming all the way from Washington. So they can do it. The challenge is there.
That's right. Throwing down the gauntlet. You come from further away than me.
It's going to be you're a few thousand miles there, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
You'd be good. You'd be good on the old air miles collection. if you collect Avios points or air miles or Virgin Atlantic points or something.
Oh yeah, collect those points for sure.
Yeah.
So okay. Until next week. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.